So here's your starting grid for Senior Rotax Heat number 3. Lewis Wild and Alex Eads on the front row. Harry Gibson and Joshua Valance on row 2. With Archie Walker and Lorenzo Cordell on row 3. Row 4 is David Outlashner and Jude Fernihoe, with Luke Collins and Scott Smith rounding out the top 10. Ronnie Smith and Samuel Cook round out the top 6 rows ahead of William Ellswood. Tommy Edmonds and Will Young rounding out the top 15. Lukas Ivaskevicius, Jamie Perrelly, Scott Lapsley, Charlie Ellis and Joshua Burton ran out the top 20. Sam Light, Samuel Hawthorne, James Jackson, Ryan Willis, Brandon Klein Nagelvort and Jack Stedman round out the 26 strong grid. Ryan Willis, who starts in 24th, was your Heat 2 winner from earlier on today. Scott Smith and Jamie Perrelly rounded out the top 3. Jude Fernihoe took the fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap, 44.97 seconds. Brandon Klein Nagelvort got a 5-second time penalty for ABC, which is gaining an unfair advantage. Joshua Valance and Jack Stedman picked up 5-second time penalties post-race for front fairings. So, thoughts ahead of this one?
Should be a good one. There's a few drivers slightly out of position than where they maybe should be in the race, so we'll see if they can make it through the pack. But yeah, I'm getting pretty hungry now, I can't lie. I'm ready for lunch.
I think a lot of us are. It's been a busy, busy morning. I mean, we were both here at the crack of dawn. Well, we were here after sunrise, but I have to say, is that your red Volkswagen up I've seen with that lovely little personalised plate on the...
Of course, mate.
Nice one.
Has to be done.
Has to be done.
Got to get the rat involved. And I've got a circuit sticker on the back as well. You need to go and try and guess what it is, because I don't think I've ever had anyone be able to guess it.
Can you give me until the end of the day to think about it?
Okay, yes. That will be nice.
Good. I will have a think. If not, give me a nudge and make me remember, because there's been a lot going on today.
Yeah, I think we all need this lunchtime break, don't we? Not only the marshals, but us as well, and probably the drivers too. Yeah.
Well, they will have had opportunity between races.
Yeah, true.
But then for the entire camera crew and our production staff behind the scenes, big thank you as always to the Alpha Live team. But the drivers now make their way, and I can see Alex Eads just lighting up the rear tyres on the number 61X Kart. It'll be one to watch. Keep your eyes on Will Ellswood, who will start outside of the top 10. Archie Walker in the 93, who will line up alongside number 20 of Lorenzo Cordell. Hopefully David Outlashner will not have an issue this time. I do know that his dad, Arcadius, or Arx as he's more commonly known, will hopefully have made sure that Tony Kart chassis will be firing in the right direction rather than ending in pit lane. It's not been an easy one for the youngster. Actually based out of Wales. Bargoed, to be more precise, hopefully. But does, yeah, again. This is just going to be commonplace. Because of these colder conditions, I think it's actually a very, very good call to just help them get that extra bit of temperature in the tyres. And it means that we get a better start and good quality racing as a direct result. Because Rotax in Europe, you have a sighting lap and then you have a formation lap. Whereas normally when we were here for round 6, it was that bleeding hot. I only needed one lap to warm up the tyres. Today, with the track the air temperature only going as high as 16 degrees, I think, is the highest at the present time. And
well, when we were here for round 6, the tyres just needed to be outside, and they were already basically up to temperature.
It's like, yes, I can adhere to the tarmac. Right. So Lewis Wild and Alex Eads on the front row of the grid. Crop Promotion versus X-Kart. Let's see if we get a good start this time around. Into the tram lines, revs rise, lights are out, so we are underway. Good start by Archie Walker, already getting himself up into 3rd position ahead of Alex Eads, who drops to 4th. As it's 2 by 2 at multiple points. Archie Walker around the outside. That was on Harry Gibson. Nearly made the move through Christmas Corner. Sideways for Luke Collins as they bump over the curbs through increments, and someone has definitely caught the biggest slide on an opening lap. Of course, the number 75 of the young novice that had the 360 spin. Name will come to me in a few moments. But now David Outleichner up the inside of Alex Eads into the boot, and then just behind them is the number 20 of Lorenzo Cordal from KMS as they filter their way through. Will Young making a nice little move up the inside. That was on the 64, and that would have been on Luke Collins.
Yeah, good start. Oh, looks like a move for P2 there. Oh, that's late. A bit too late. Manages to catch the slide, but it's going to lose a few positions because of it. Ooh, that was an interesting one. Really, really sent it there, but a little bit too much than what the tyres could actually do. Like you were saying earlier, the tyres are going to be at a much lower temperature. Maybe at round 6, that move could have worked, but not today.
No, that was nearly high, wide and handsome. It was high, wide and sideways for Archie Walker, but he lost a bag full of positions, and now he's got Will Ellswood, his teammate at KR, a little bit further. Well, there is Will Ellswood. There's one of the Argenti karts. That is the number 70.
Squeezed onto the grass on exits.
That is the number 40. That's Jamie Perrelli. So
warms the tyres back up down the main straight.
Yeah, just has a quick adjustment of the race suit. Right, let's go back, boys. But it has been a bit wild, but there is a driver at the front of the field, Lewis Wild, who is leading the way ahead of Harry Gibson. David Outleichner now rounds out the top 3. Lorenzo Cordal, Jude Fernihoe, Alex Eads, Joshua Valance, Scott Smith, Archie Walker and Ronnie Smith ran out the top 10. Not too far behind Will Ellswood, Sam Hawthorne, Tommy Edmonds, Samuel Cook and Jamie Perrelli. Through that moment coming through into the entrance into pit bend, now drops down into what is effectively going to be 16th position because Ryan Willis has just got past him through the boot.
Indeed, it's not been a great couple of laps. Jamie Perrelli there, losing a couple of positions, but continues nonetheless, and we know he's pretty quick, so can't imagine that he'll be staying down that end of the field for too long. There is a decent gap between themselves of Ryan Willis and Jamie Perrelli up to Samuel Cook in 14th, though. Decent couple of seconds there, so whether they'll be able to close that down, we'll have to wait and see. Still over 5 minutes to go, though, in this one, so plenty of time to send those moves. And although Lewis Wild has been pretty quick, he was initially extending that lead, which now it's kind of staying a bit stagnant between himself and Harry Gibson. And it's now Jude Fernihoe in 5th place with the fastest lap of 45.53 for Jude.
Outleichner is closing in on Gibson. There are some changes of positions happening at the top part of the boot. Number 11 is in the mix. That is Ellis, Charlie Ellis, I think, in the number 11, showing in 23rd position. But Outleichner closing in on both Gibson and Wild. Outleichner was quicker than the pair in front by the best part of nearly 0.2 of a second. So Outleichner could be gunning for a heat victory. Lewis Wild still leading the way, not by much ahead of Harry Gibson. It was 0.66 between the pair. And there is Outleichner. And behind him, who is that? That is Harry Gibson. Outleichner on the move, but Fernihoe from nowhere. He did the Daniel Ricciardo lick the stamp and send it. Overcooked it. And now loses. That's Lorenzo Cordal. It's just gone through. Gibson's just gone, right, guys, let's just go. Let's push. Lorenzo Cordal gets a track limit warning for running a little bit wide coming out of pit bend because of obviously the proximity of the wall to the outside. But now Outleichner has a chance. Lewis Wild, you better watch your back bumper because Outleichner was 0.2 of a second quicker on that last lap.
Yeah, I can understand that slightly desperate move from Jude. He's clearly very, very quick and wanted to get through as fast as possible, but just didn't quite. Was a little bit too far back even for that kind of send. It was impressive, but not quite this time around. Still just has to follow Harry Gibson for now anyway. And as you say, that's allowed for them to build a slight little gap for Lewis and David out in 1st and 2nd place at the moment. But about a 1/10 of a second quicker was David in 2nd there. So just closing down that gap. And as you say, still a bit to go, over 3 minutes. So even if it's just a 1/10 per lap, it's only at half a second right now. So all he needs is 4 or 5 laps to close down that gap.
There was nearly a moment there for Jude Fernihoe trying to go up the inside of Harry Gibson through Christmas Corner. And Outleichner is within striking distance. Archie Walker looks to be getting a little bit of a wriggle on. He's now up into 7th, might even have made that 6th place. He's got past Alex Eads, and he has done so. There's the 93, followed by the 61. Just behind them will be Josh Valance, and there is Will Ellswood in the number 6, closing in on what will be Josh Valance there. Just behind them is Sam Hawthorne, who was looking up the inside of the number 6 at the top part of the boot. Out of pit bend, Ellswood still able to hold on to what is now 10th position.
Indeed, yeah, just didn't quite have the waft out of that final corner out of the boot even to then go for it onto the final corner, and you need that to send it up the inside there. And also that doesn't mean it's done, because there's so much runoff on the outside after that final corner that they can still then re-overtake you as they're then on the inside for the next corner. Bit of bumping and barging there down into Ashby between a few in the back of the shot. Not sure who it was exactly, but someone getting nerfed out a bit wide.
Well, that was Ellswood and Hawthorne going into battle, 6 versus 66 there, as Archie Walker now really closing in on Harry Gibson. So it's now going to be a 4-kart, maybe even make it a 7-kart squabble for what will be third position, as it's the Jude Fernihoe train at the moment in third place, who sets a personal best. So does Lorenzo Cordell.
Oh, he's gone for the lead.
Outlationer up the inside, through on Lewis Wild at the top of Christmas Corner. And the number 65, racing under his national flag of Poland, of course. With a little bit of Welsh thrown in for good measure. But he was closing that gap. He took nearly a quarter of a second out of Lewis Wild, waited for the opportunity, got the run-up manuals bank, and it was pretty clear that Outlationer had the WAF to get through and had that slipstream assist as we head into the final minute and 10 seconds. Plus an additional lap. Scott Smith in 8th still holds on to the fastest race lap of the heat so far, 45.21. Archie Walker is threatening to get into the top 4 because he's trying to close in on Lorenzo Cordell, but he's also bringing along Harry Gibson, Alex Eads, Scott Smith, amongst others, with him.
Indeed, that group behind is getting bigger and bigger, isn't it? More drivers getting involved. But if Gibson's going to go for it on Walker on Cordell could allow Fernihoe to get away. But I do think that David and Lewis in P1 and P2 here have a nice little gap back to Jude. I don't think, even if they start battling, that Jude is really going to be able to close that down with less than 30 seconds to go now. So likely this going on to the penultimate lap now, and then we'll have one more lap after that.
I like the touch on the back of David Outlationer's race helmet. The Polish flag colours intermixed with the Welsh dragon.
Nice.
That's a great little touch.
That's cool.
We are now on to our penultimate lap of the morning's action.
I think Jude Fernihoe could hear me. He's just put in the fastest lap of the race, a 45.2. 3/10 faster than the 2 ahead of him, and he's closed that gap down by a decent amount. Close to 1 second, that gap now. So if they do battle, maybe he could get involved there.
Well, I think the thing is, Outlationer's got the right of way when it comes to the racing line, but whether Lewis Wild is going to serve something up as we are on to what's going to be very shortly our final lap of the morning's action here at round 9 of the 2022 Faster Whilton Mill Kart Club Championship. Out of the final corner, last lap board is out. Outlationer's lead now extends to nearly 3/10 of a second ahead of Lewis Wild. Jude Fernihoe, Archie Walker, fastest lap of the race on cue, 45.11, and he's very, very close to Lorenzo Cordell. So expect the fireworks for 4th position to be lit imminently.
Indeed, indeed. I think it definitely will be. We're still watching at the front, though. Oh, there's a move down. I think that's for 5th. Doesn't quite work out.
Harry Gibson, I think, just got passed by Alex Eads in the number 61 kart. But David Outlationer brings them out of Osiers. One more run down into the boot they go. Lewis Wild waiting for an opportunity, but Outlationer keeps it pinned through the apex using the curbing very nicely. Jude Fernihoe will try and close, but David Outlationer becomes a race winner here today and pips Lewis Wild to the flag.
Walker got it.
Walker got it by 8/100ths. Nice one, Archie. Nice one, mate. So David Outlationer takes the victory. Lewis Wild, Jude Fernihoe ran at the top 3. Archie Walker, Lorenzo Cordell, Harry Gibson, Alex Eads, Joshua Valance, Will Ellswood, and Scott Smith ran at the top 10. Sam Hawthorne, Tommy Edmonds, Ryan Willis, Jamie Perrelly, Ronnie Smith, Brandon Klein-Nagelvort, James Jackson, Samuel Cook, Jack Stedman, and Scott Lapsley ran out the top 20. William Young in 21st, ahead of Joshua Burton, Charlie Ellis, and Sam Light. They all made it to the checkered, and unfortunately, on lap number 2, we lost Luke Collins in the 64. Right.
That's been a few heats that we've got done and dusted now.
A few heats indeed we have, Mr. Ratcliffe. Well, folks, that's it from us for the morning's action, as very, very soon we'll be back after, well,
there's going to be a nice little run around the track to begin with. So if you're here and you fancy a little jog, go and join that. It's all for charity.
Indeed, raising money for Crohn's colitis.
Indeed.
And also, you'll get to see our faces and our voices on the upcoming Faster Whilton